another offering from the Stand Up Talk Radio Network.
And welcome to another Nerd Rager episode. On the podcast today, we have with us from Anberlin, Deon, Rexroat. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
And with the band, they got the photographer with them. We got Jake Gravbrot.
Hey,
how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Now, cool thing about these guys is, with Deon, I met him in Tampa, Florida. But when I first started doing comedy, we became good friends, and that's why I asked him to come do the podcast while Anberlin's in town. And you guys are going to be playing at the Roxy tonight, right?
Yeah, playing at the Roxy tonight, like you just said, and I repeated it unnecessarily.
Unnecessarily, yeah. Playing at the Roxy. Going to be a great show. These guys are going to be touring all over the country with the Anberlin Light Tour. You should check it out on Anberlin.com. We're going to get into the podcast right away. Start off with our normal topic, video games. Love talking about video games on here. When I asked you last night to send me some stuff on video games, things like that, Halo and Mario Kart, which are two of my favorites of all time. What was your, Deon, what was Halo? Which Halo did you guys play the most, and what do you guys play still?
I think the one that we really did the most was like when 3 came out, and they kind of fixed a few of the, things that piss people off about 2.
Yeah.
They fixed that battle rifle situation, and, so you had like the assault rifle and the battle rifle, like where they just completely nixed one on 2, and everybody was like, where did it go?
You don't have the guy sitting around being cheap as hell.
Yeah, but that was the one I think we played the most on the road. We used we would have a Xbox in the front of the bus, Xbox in the back, and we would just run a LAN cable like straight down the bunk area, and just freaking and like carry on killing each other for a few hours every night, all in good fun. A few doors may have been punched and, controllers broken, but it's always great,
And you guys still have the Xbox on the bus?
What's funny is we don't right now because they're all broken from tour.
So there's good problems created through the Xbox. That's good.
Yeah.
And it's good to know Xbox has great products, right?
Yeah, they're great for moving vehicles.
Yeah, there you go. Jake, what about you? What kind of you get on the bus and play with them, and also do you what kind of games do you like to play? Are you into the Halo, the Mario Kart, whatnot?
I mean, Halo absolutely, but I actually might be now at this point one of the minorities in saying that I've never had Xbox Live at home. So I typically tend to play games that are like single person, and I choose a lot of times off of just what tend to be some of the most beautiful games. So I've become, over the course of the past 7 or 8 years, just a massive fan of all of Bethesda's stuff.
Oh,
so,
Bethesda's amazing, yeah.
Skyrim, Oblivion. I played Fallout. I tend to like the more fantasy style of
you like losing yourself in the game.
Yeah, I would hibernate in the winter, and I live in Seattle, so it's pretty typical to hibernate in the winter when you've got 7 or 8 months of dreary gray skies and it's raining outside. So it's easy for me to play. I usually will spend 6 months with the game, and
that's the way you gotta do it.
And like not touch anything else, and complete it in nearly every way that I possibly can. So
you belong on this podcast.
Yeah.
You belong here, yes.
I will say that that's typically now the only games that I'll play. I'll go a year without, and that probably in present company is something I shouldn't admit, but I'll go a year sometimes without really finding a game that I want to play, and I'll just wait until Bethesda comes out with their next one. So
well, they're coming out with a lot right now, really, with tons. And then you've also right now you should try BioShock Infinite. That sounds like a game you just eat up. Who on the bus? And this is a good question. Who on the bus is the most competitive and is the one who throws his controller the most?
Steven.
Yeah.
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 He just does, he's just one of those guys who does not like to lose, and so
alpha male.
Yeah, and and I think Nate out of all of us plays the most when he's home. He's got his a couple of his family members are like huge Halo players, so he comes on tour like all practiced up, like ready to go. He's been on Xbox Live, going against, going head to head with people. So, like And Steven, when he goes home, he's got family stuff to tend to, so he's not getting as much time on there. And so we get on tour, and he's just getting
Nate
headshots left and right on Steven, and it's like, next thing you know, it's like he just he don't talk to you for like an hour.
The whole concert goes through, and you guys haven't talked. He's just still mad about Halo.
You just hear like in the front lounge, you just hear yelling from the back lounge.
And you guys obviously go through a lot of controllers. That's great.
Yeah, we came up with a rule a long time ago that you have to buy your own controller.
That's so great. Yeah.
Nate plays a lot of Mario Kart. Doesn't Joey play Mario Kart though too?
Yeah, me, Nate, and Joey are like Mario Kart was our thing. One tour, like we were playing it so much that like Christian or Steven would come on the bus and just be like, play something else. But we were on a mission, man. We had to get, we had to unlock all the characters, had to get, perfect on every.
This is on Wii?
Get first, yeah. Had to get first, in every race, on every circuit. It's just like.
Did you guys race each other a lot too?
Oh yeah.
And there's always the one person who has to be Yoshi, and the one person who gets fucked with Princess.
I was always Luigi. Nate's like he was Bowser. He's like Bowser's the best one.
That's so weird. I've never met anybody who wanted to be Bowser.
For real.
It's the enemy. He's the enemy when we grew up.
Yeah.
He's the bad guy. That's crazy.
Or not Bowser, Wario.
Oh, Wario.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That's the new Wii. I'm used to this Nintendo 64. I never played it on Wii, so I bet it was awesome on Wii. I mean,
it's rad. But I mean, using the little steering wheel thing is bullcrap. You got to use the nunchucks. It's so much better. Because I just got tough about Mario Kart.
Yeah,
there.
right. What does use the nunchucks mean? Because I'm not a big Wii person. So.
Well, you've got like the one.
The one controller.
Yeah, the one controller, and then you have like an attachment where it'll like give you a joystick on the other side, and your buttons are on your right side. So, I mean, you're steering and like firing your weapons with the.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you have
left, and then it kind of turns it into a regular controller.
Right.
It emulates the old controller.
But it's just, this whole like turning thing with the steering wheel, just I drive off cliffs all the time.
It's never felt natural to me. Like you have to actually have some weight to it, and there's no weight to those things, so it's not anything close to what it's like steering in real life. So I'm just, we grew up playing with regular controllers, so that left thumb does one thing and the right thumb does another, and it's worked for me. If it wasn't broke, I don't think it needed to have been ultimately fixed.
I've tried to play those Need for Speed and those games on the wheel, and it's just like you always just overturns, and I'd much rather just have the analog controller, just hammer it out. So that's pretty awesome that you guys get that deep into video games, and you have to have stuff to do like that on tour, right? I mean, you can't just.
Yeah, not every day. There's not necessarily something awesome to do every single day. We did one tour we did January in Canada, and we were just basically locked in the bus unless we were in the venue because it was just negative 17, 20 degrees outside some days, and you're not gonna get out and walk around and see the city, and so unless there's an awesome green room in the venue, like we'd just be hanging out on the bus playing Halo. I think Steven over the course of that tour was just like killing by the original BioShock, he like started it one day and just was playing it nonstop like until he beat it.
All the BioShocks are like that. They're so well written and just great games. I find that like you're saying you're stuck on that bus. You have to have something to do. Eventually just looking at Facebook or Instagram or whatever the hell is going to get boring. You got to do something.
And you can do that if you go anywhere else anyways.
Yeah, there you go.
So it doesn't even matter. You're always connected to it.
Yeah.
The other day though, like on the contrary, we were friggin' in Vegas, and they had to load in at like 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
So then there's the contrary where all of a sudden you've got a day like that where of all cities there's tons to do yet like nothing to do, because Vegas is to me always the same. It's the same.
What was the way it was put? It was something for everybody and or nothing for everybody as well.
Yes. Exactly.
They just cover all the bases so much that you're just kind of like,
whatever.
But do you really need anything in Vegas? But,
No.
We went to the pool, and some of us went to the pool, went out and got food, went and got coffees earlier in the mornings, and you got all kinds of stuff to do. So
anybody
don't play video games.
Anybody big gamblers? Anybody like to go out and hit the slots?
I think guys will pop in money here and there. We've never been a big gambling man. We would, every now and then when we didn't roll through a Reno or Vegas that often, it'd be like, I can stand to lose $100, and then I was like, I hate losing money. You obviously, the house, everything favors the house. So I just kind of feel like a schmuck at the end of the night. I'm like,
you're basically paying.
I should just walked to the casino, thrown my money on the floor, and turned around and walked out.
Right. It's like I get more joy out of lighting a dollar bill on fire and watching it burn than I would just giving it to somebody in the casino and pissing it away.
That's actually how Jake wakes up in the morning. He just lights a dollar bill on fire, kind of like waves around like incense. Like, all right, ready for my day.
Yeah. America.
And we're only a couple of days away from July 4th, man.
There you go. Celebrating it the right
for
way.
this one.
Well, that's a $100 bill on that day.
But, oh, wow. Stepping it up. High class white trash. There you go. So another thing about the video games, just to get on this, I know with Halo is, do you guys get really annoyed with the kids jumping and like the online play? Do you get annoyed with these kids online?
When they're running at you, just like jumping,
Yeah,
constantly
just-
shooting. I get annoyed because I suck at that.
Yeah.
I can't jump and shoot. So like if I jump, it's like I can't aim down and up as I'm doing it. So I just would like, if I was running at somebody jumping, I'm just trying to avoid getting shot, but I'm just gonna die. Because I'm not gonna ever walk onto this dude and kill him. I'm avoiding the inevitable is all I'm doing.
But the thing I was going to get to is, do you have any jumpers on the bus?
Nate's good at it.
Nate's a jumper. All right,
Yeah.
I'll remember that in case I ever play him.
He's
I'll stay behind cover.
He's a pretty crazy sniper too. He's got some pretty vicious no scope kills. And and when you're playing Halo, if you get a no scope, you have to yell that, just to really rub it in.
There you
no
go.
scope. Did you see that? Of course you did. I shot you right in the face.
Yeah, so it's room to room, just beating each other up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's like Gears of War when you get into a battle with somebody. One of the things we do is you'll down them, smoke tag them, hump them, and that's like the ultimate disgrace.
Oh, the hump at the end is the best.
Oh, it's just
Especially if you stick somebody.
Oh yeah.
You gotta get this, like, you're running, like, they're trying to shoot you, just stick them from
Oh,
far
the plasma
away.
grenade?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And just, they just blow up, and when you land, it's go, like, you see it on your screen, like, this guy run over, like, squat a few times, and just take off.
Your instant thing, you're like, yes!
It could be, like, the middle of a firefight, and someone's still doing it. They're getting shot at, they hump you real quick, and then keep running.
Yeah, my one friend who plays on Halo, you guys can find him on Xbox, Monkey Spanka. He actually dances with people while he kills them. Like, he literally goes into battles, and he'll do this little jig or whatever, and then shoot him in the head.
No way.
And I'm just like, it's the funniest shit, because they think he sucks, and they think he's just playing around, and then he just destroys them.
That sounds like it'd be a character in a movie or something.
Oh, he's
like
hilarious.
that dude should have been in Seven Psychopaths.
That's the second reference I've heard of that. I've never seen that. I'm going to have to check it out.
I've seen it twice now, and I think it only came out early this year.
What?
So
Yeah.
it's funny. Not funny. I'm sorry. It's really really great. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Christopher Walken, so his character in that, which is one of the psychopaths, is wonderful.
And that just came out in theaters recently, like a
I
year
think
ago?
it came out in theaters, maybe like in wintertime, but it's already, everything comes out to video so fast
Yeah.
now, so
Yeah.
it's already on DVD, and I've watched it twice at home.
Well, you did a great segue there, man. I mean, are you sure you don't do a lot of podcasts? that was a great segue. We're gonna go right into some entertainment talk with that kind of stuff.
Maybe it's my new calling.
Yeah, there you go. We found your new
Oh, Segway Jake over here.
Yeah. Moving from Seattle to LA right now.
Right now.
Yeah, pack it up. With Seven Psychopaths, like you explained to me what it's about, because I've heard a lot about it. I'm sure other people want to know. And then we'll go into a little bit of Game of Thrones, because I know you're excited about that, Deon.
Yeah.
So Seven Psychopaths, since we're already on that, let's hear a little bit more about that. What's the movie about? Like,
So Colin Farrell is an author in LA, and he's struggling to write a book that is based upon 7 psychopaths. And so the characters are created in real life as he's actually like writing the book.
oh, so it's like a Stranger Than Fiction, but horror look at it.
I haven't seen Stranger Than Fiction, and it's not horror. There's, I don't know exactly.
You already explained enough. I already want to see it. I'm like this guy. I mean, that's all I wanted. Just enough.
Woody Harrelson is in it, and he plays
One of my favorite actors, yeah.
He plays a great character in it. He is not one of the psychopaths, or is he? Now I'm losing my mind.
He would play a great psychopath.
Yes. All right. Sorry. He is. So he's in it. Like I said, Christopher Walken, and there's another guy, the other main character, and I recognize him from movies. I believe he's a British actor.
Jason Statham.
No.
I was just gonna say it just sounds like something you would do.
Completely changed the tone of the movie by adding Jason Statham into it.
The black British actor you're talking about?
No.
What's his name? Oh.
I can't remember. We'll have to look it up in a second, and I'll
Yeah,
go
no.
back to it. But it's worth seeing. I mean, right now, I've seen it twice, and it's one of those that I wish that I actually owned back in the day when Blockbuster and Hollywood actually had movies for sale, and I could just go over there and get 5 previewed movies for $25 or whatever.
Oh, that was the best. Yeah.
So I'd go and that would be a movie that I would actually go and own.
And now you just have to
good.
wait 8 months for it to drop to $3.99.
That's true, and they drop them pretty quick.
Oh yeah, they do. It's great. I saw Woody Harrelson. I think he played the worst role for one of my favorite actors at Hunger Games.
I never saw it.
Oh, it was so bad. But I have to watch the second one because I have to know how it ends.
I thought it was pretty good.
I have to know how it ends.
Well, you got to watch 2 more.
Yeah, I've got to watch 2 more then. But I mean, it's good enough to keep me entertained.
I read all 3 books, and I actually liked the first movie. I mean, I think with a lot of movie franchises like that, the first one's never going to be the best one, really, because there's not that confidence in that first movie. Like maybe the budget's a little light or whatever.
Well, and I also feel like their first part of their book or the first part of their movies was too close to Blade Runner, and like those kind of movies to where I'm like that genre to where I look back and I go, this is just a remake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and I know it's not because they have the whole book and it goes on further. It goes further than what Blade Runner and those other movies did, like what was Death Race and all those movies. So that's I guess what I compared them to that.
Yeah, but, I mean the premise is definitely not a new one. It's cool, there's it's as long as there's the Roman Empire had gladiators. It's not like anybody's
you can rewrite it as many times as you want as long as you rewrite it good, write it well, sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was decent. I mean,
I thought it was entertaining. I didn't like it, but I thought it was entertaining to the point where I'd watch the second one.
Yeah. Well, funny thing for me is I read the books, like as I'm reading them, I'm like, this is young adult literature. Are you kidding me? Like if books were like if this was considered young adult literature when I was a kid, I would have read way more.
Oh yeah.
This is like decent writing, good story. I mean, it's there's violence and there's the books are graphic. It's like just 12-year-olds reading it and just like loving it, and there's like people getting their heads chopped off and shit. It's like
is it like a I mean, I guess I haven't read or even watched either of the movies, so does it have like a Game of Thrones kind of element to it? Is that a stupid question?
No, it's not a dumb question. It's just
little segue Jake over here. So let's talk about Game of Thrones. Enough of this Hunger Games crap.
No, I mean it was mentioned earlier. So
Game of Thrones.
There you go. We got to. Hey, that would actually be a good parody on it. Right? No, it's not.
Game of Thrones.
It's not that far off considering that they do kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just light, if you will.
It's a lot different though. I mean, they do have different settings for what America is or what we are living in or whatever.
Oh, so does Hunger Games takes place in the future?
It takes place in the future after basically what's World War III.
Okay.
And I mean, America is just divided into all these different districts instead of states, really. So in the different districts all contribute certain things. There's like a coal district, there's a an agricultural district. And as you move basically west across the United States, by the time they get basically to what is, I guess, I think the last, the capital was California or something, basically where the West Coast. And it's, they're the most fortunate people. And as it moves east, it's kind of it creates a caste system. I mean, it's kind of similar to what it is. Yeah, it's crazy. As it moves east, they're, the different districts are they're on rations for food and all this stuff, or people are starving and everything, and then you have all these favored people in the capital that don't even have to work because of all the. I mean, it's almost it's basically communism in a way, where all the workers are doing everything, and then everybody at the top is benefiting from it, and while the workers are starving.
Well, and that's the reason I want to watch the second movie, because I like the uprising. I like wanting to see them beat down the guys who. Whatever. It's just like anything else. You just want to see somebody get beat down.
Yeah. Exactly.
And segue Jake over here with the Game of Thrones. And I just, this is great.
You know you got a new co-host, huh?
Yeah, I do. I just found my co-host. Been searching high and low. I found him.
Hey, well, when you're looking, you never find it. When
there you go.
You aren't. There you go.
You're like a shitty girlfriend.
I am like that. Oh, man. And Lord knows I have been one. Not a girlfriend. But a boyfriend.
That's great. You told me Game of Thrones last night, and I got so excited, and I remembered, oh shit, my HBO Go account got canceled. So I called my friend in New York and asked him to let me borrow his account. So I did. I watched 3 episodes last night. the last thing I see before I go to sleep is some dude getting his hand cut off, a really important character, I won't say.
Wait, did you started the third season?
No, I've already seen the first 2.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
No, I'm saying the new season going in, the 3rd season. I wanted to watch some episodes so I could talk to you about it. Obviously not giving too much away, but I did see somebody get their hand cut off, and before I go to sleep, I was just like, "Holy fucking shit!"
Yeah, it's pretty
what
intense.
just happened.
Now, the funny thing about that is the reason I was asking about if you watched it in out of order is because when I'd seen like a few episodes, and I told Erica I was like, you need to watch this. It's like just watch the first episode and let me know if it's like a show you want to get into because we're gonna watch it when I get home. And she like just like an hour goes by. She texts me back. She's like, I'm so confused. Like, what is going on in this show? Like some guy just got his head cut off. This other guy's like, I'm gonna put a baby in your belly, and then like this little prick
She went
king,
to the end of
this
season
like
2.
this like young kid like is a king and he's an asshole and like babe, did you watch episode 10 of season 1? She looks at she's like, yeah, like great, you just blew like the whole season for yourself. But yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, that's a show that I love, and like Christian read all the books.
That's
which is
intense.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're long books.
That's a lot. What is one of the reasons you find yourself adapted to shows? Is it because of the Lord of the Rings, like growing up as a kid, listening to the Lord of the Rings, reading the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, that fantasy stuff and is always like I'm always a fan of that. Huge into Lord of the Rings, and but I mean, it's also, I mean, I feel like you don't even really, it's such written so well, you don't even have to be into fantasy. I mean, my wife hates Lord of the Rings and loves Game of Thrones.
That's weird.
Yeah, she just I mean, I think if she read the books, maybe she would like them more. But like the movies, she's like thinks the Lord of the Rings movies are so boring, and they kind of are.
The movies, they are.
The movies were really kind of boring. Especially if you look at them, one of the comics, I don't remember who it was. He's saying it's like a long one. I think it was Patton Oswalt. Mm-hmm. It's just a long walk movie. It's just like they're walking on a long walk. And it like makes you look at it, and when you watch them again, you're like, this movie is kind of boring. But the books were phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we lost track there, but anyways, with the Game of Thrones now, how do you keep track of all of this? Because like I literally started watching season 3 after seeing season 1 and 2, but I stopped for like 3 months not watching them, and I felt like I was lost again. Like I felt like I didn't know what was going on because like there's so many different little aspects of that show.
Yeah, so many characters. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm usually really good at keeping track of things like that for some reason. I mean, when there's a lot of characters, and I think they do a pretty good job of it on the show of kind of dedicating episodes to only certain characters. They don't try and jam a ton of characters into one episode. They'll kind of follow, 2 or 3 stories in an episode, and then the next episode, they'll kind of pick up with another character, and they don't really just. I feel like they don't like inundate you with all these storylines that are going on. They kind of do a good job of spacing them out a bit.
Okay. And Jake, and you don't watch the show or never have really watched it?
No, and I mean, going into like what I was talking about as far as what games I like, Game of Thrones to me visually would make so much sense to watch, and I know at some point I'm going to.
You're actually lucky that you don't watch it now because you don't have to wait for the winter to come.
A lot of times that's what I've enjoyed in recent years. I gave myself so much to the TV show Lost, like on a weekly basis.
The greatest show ever.
In between going, to all the websites to kind of see theories on what was going on. I read the book. I have the friggin' board game. I have the video game. I did everything that I could to get so fully invested into that show. But it's incredible amounts of time for me to do that. And then like I typically haven't had TV at my house with consistency. I moved a lot and didn't have that there, so I haven't gotten into like regularly watching TV shows. And where these guys would have maybe time to watch stuff on the bus, I mean, I still work out of Seattle, so I got a business up there, and then I shoot photography. And between those two things, and I've got 2 kids, and it's like, man, if I had that extra hour to watch that show, I would love it. But then I would become invested in it in a way that I can't fully afford myself to do right now. So I'll watch them when they're like, I mean, that's what I did with The Wire. I watched that one, all 4 seasons of that.
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Oh yeah, it's great. And 6 Feet Under was another one that I had done that with. So.
6 Feet Under, my thing about that, I think 3 seasons in, stop watching it because it's shit after that.
You thought so?
I thought so. I thought it
See?
was terrible after the third season.
That's the way I feel about Lost.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see
And
that in
many
Lost
people
too.
do.
Yeah, there was too many pregnancies after the third season. It was like 15 pregnancies in one season.
Yeah.
Like births. I guess like J.J. Abrams has an obsession with birthing. I don't know.
And monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. It's tough for a show to, go
it, yeah.
for a long while and keep it fresh.
Well,
Like they
and
started
so
with.
often they become just the friggin' pawn of the network, So all of a
Yeah.
sudden the network sees the hit, they want the extra money. I get it, but the
Which is what happened with
is in
Lost.
the writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Abrams didn't get to end the show the way he really wanted to. I mean, a lot of.
He didn't know what he was doing after a while.
Yeah. Nobody did.
I think I've never actually found this, but someone was telling me that he had admitted that when they really only had a premise at the beginning, they didn't even have a
true ending.
Yeah, they just were it was kind of like one of the scenes well, what if this happened, and I think they never really fully knew how they were going to end it, and I think that's what made me so mad about the way they did it, and is people were saying that after the first episode, oh, I bet they're all in purgatory, and then that's exactly how you end it. Even if that was your plan, you should have changed it.
Right. Yeah.
If people called that, people on message boards are
But dude, there were so many theories. The purgatory was a big one there for a while, but they debunked, or they tried to debunk it, and get people off that trail. But for that theory, there were so many other ones that people would come up with, and it was entertaining to read.
It was very entertaining.
Well, that was the funny thing about debunking the purgatory theory. Is no, that's not what it is. That's totally what it is.
Yeah. Now, and that's in the Game of Thrones, you have the same kind of stuff, don't you? You have the same kind of plot setups where you have people guessing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the young king to die.
Absolutely.
That's the number one on everybody's list.
Yeah, and it's he's not going to.
And
not right
but
away.
If there's one show that I've heard you can't, don't get attached to any particular character because they will die. It's Game of Thrones recently.
Yeah.
If I know or have heard much about it, that's been the one consistent that people tell me.
If you were saying don't get attached to one certain black character, I would say Walking Dead. Every time they bring a black guy on the show, they kill him.
Yeah, well,
It's like
the walking
isn't that
racist.
kind of one of the horror movie rules, though, too, right?
Yeah.
The black guy always dies.
well, unless he's a sports athlete, and then he's able to survive the zombie apocalypse.
the Mekhi Phifer
Yeah.
of the movie.
It always happens in every Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
It's like so
Hey,
racist.
at least T-Dog went out, awesome. He went out a total hero. It wasn't just he was just walking and got, all of a sudden a zombie dropped on him.
He saved what's her name? Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I'm just glad Andrea's dead. God, she was awful.
I am not caught up, so thanks for that.
Oh man!
Spoiler
I guess I should have prefaced that with I'm not caught up, but
Now you are.
yeah.
Now you are.
And that was a spoiler alert brought to you by Eric Oligny. Thank you. Yeah, I'm good at that. I'm good at putting my foot in my mouth. So, so you do love The Walking Dead, though. And what are you up to then?
We went on
Season 2.
tour and the second half of season 3 started, and which is so annoying that freaking television shows do that these days.
Yeah, that's
we're gonna do
dumb.
6 episodes, then we're gonna pause for 6 months, and then give you the next 6 episodes. Yeah. And thanks a lot.
Just bring it to us.
Yeah, I mean, shows have always taken a month or 2 off, but this whole 6 months between the first and second half of the episode or seasons is just so annoying. But yeah, it's I went on tour, and I've got cable on demand at home, so I was thinking I was gonna come home, to the second half of the season. And while I was gone, they changed the way they do the on-demand stuff, so they only have 3 up at a time.
Yeah.
So I check in and I'm 3 behind, and
Well-
they're not on there to watch. So I was crap.
Well, luckily in 1 month, I think you'll have it on your instant queue. I believe we have the neighbors or somebody is being really loud right now.
Yeah,
It's cool. It adds to the atmosphere. It makes this real.
It is real.
Yeah, definitely. It's sweating in this hot room today. It's hot in California. You can't have the fan on because
the
of the
West
podcast.
Coast in general is baking everywhere.
So I appreciate you guys suffering through
Oh, I
this.
think his fan is running backwards too, actually.
So that's sucking the
Yeah.
air out of here.
I'm gonna fix that real quick.
Okay,
Talk
go
amongst
ahead.
yourselves.
Yeah. Oh, so Jake, are you into The Walking Dead? Did you get into it at all?
Yeah, although I stopped after the end or the midpoint of season 2, so kind of that break that Dee was just talking about, and I just haven't picked it back up yet. Yeah, I'll watch it. The thing is too is I subtly pay attention through Twitter to a lot of these shows, and I kind of have to a degree because I'm also a hairstylist. So I talk with my clients all day long, so
Right.
I've got to have some of their own interest, in my daily conversational repertoire. So I have to know just enough about some of these shows, but I haven't watched Walking Dead since mid-season of season 2. The first half of season 2, though, to me was just so drug out.
So boring.
It was so boring, and it kind of lost me. There was actually a point where we were watching it, and I had downloaded it from the internet, and it didn't have the audio track, and so I was playing it through the computer on my TV, and we realized, a couple minutes in, that there was no audio track, so we started making fun of the show, like by just kind of voicing for the characters what we thought that they were saying, because it had just gotten so like drawn out over those first couple episodes of season 2. So
Turns into Mystery Science Theater 2000.
Seriously. So I'm going to get back into it, but I just need to hammer it out like I do with most of my shows.
I would say just give up.
Just give up.
It's
well, there's always the graphic novels, so
Yeah, the novels are great. I'm gonna actually buy the whole set together and just read it.
Is it the compendium?
And you can be one of those guys that complains about the show because it's not like the novel.
Well, see, the thing is, I complain about the show anyways because of and then you're not caught up yet. But when you do, we'll have a good conversation about this because it's the end of this new season. You're gonna want to call me and talk to me about it after that because
need a helping hand.
Yeah, you're gonna need somebody to yell at. There's many a times I like to talk to the TV and yell at the TV. There's many a times I was yelling at the TV.
Yeah.
So, give me 1 second. I'm gonna put this up here real quick. I'm gonna ask you a real quick question. You said with the Game of Thrones, we're gonna go back into that. The dragons. I want to know about
Daenerys. Yeah, Khaleesi. Daenerys.
The Khaleesi. I saw this last night. You're pretty much caught up, right?
Yeah. I'm totally caught up.
She gives up one of them, and does that not strike you as weird? Do you think she's setting those people up? Like, that's what I was thinking. Like, is she setting these people up because the dragon's hers? I mean, right? The dragon's owned by her, right? Isn't that?
What do you want me to tell you?
Oh no.
What's your theory?
That's what I was asking. Is that like something that's Khaleesi's going to be doing? I don't know how to. I was looking at that. Maybe that's what happens. I didn't even realize that happens in this season.
Yeah. Well, the thing about her character that I think everybody, I think she's got to be like across the board, like everybody's favorite, most people's favorite character.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Nice. And I think growing up with a brother like she did, who is and he's like an older King Joffrey basically. He's just a spoiled little entitled piece of crap, And, I think she learned early on how to not treat people through him. And so, but I think she also has kind of learned how to play people. You know what I mean? And I mean, I obviously know what happens because I'm all caught up on season 3.
You can go ahead and reference it. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be.
Yeah, and then she's got this thing against she's shown that she has this thing against she's against slavery
right,
in the show. She doesn't believe that people should be slaves. They should be free. So like I think so she like uses people's like vanity and weaknesses to like set them up with people that she doesn't like, people she wants to bring down. You know what I mean?
And I think that's why everyone really likes her. I mean, just not only because she's beautiful, but she also has those.
Yeah, she's just rad. Like, I mean, obviously she would be the best to rule Westeros, because she's actually a good person. And the only other one who would have been good is, would have been Ned, but he didn't want it. So, and she actually does want to do it because she wants to make the world a better place.
And you have the other one who's trying to vie for the queen right now.
The Rose.
She's
lady.
Beautiful. Wow. But
she's a very devious one.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
she seems too good to be true.
Oh, she's playing people against each other a lot, and they tried to. So I mean, it's. Yeah,
Game of Thrones, bro.
If you hate them, they're gonna live. If you love them, they're gonna die.
It's such an intense show, and you can't stop watching. You watch one episode, and you have like 4 left. You're gonna watch all 4, yeah.
Well, what's funny is how we got into it originally we were just on tour one night. We were rolling out to the next city, and we were flipping through television or flipping through channels, and got to HBO and. The second episode of season 1 was on, and Christian, it was like kind of like towards the beginning, so we're like, oh, let's see what all the hype about this Game of Thrones shows. Because I mean, even before that was aired, there was a lot of hype around it,
right?
So, and then then just the first episode alone, you're like, this is gonna be an awesome series, and I'll so we watched Christian and I watched season 2 or episode 2 of season 1. We was like, this show's awesome. Like, we need to watch the whole thing, And from there he went and took a step further and read all the books. He's a much faster reader than I am, but
Yeah.
I want to read the books. Like
I would get so into them though.
Yeah.
They take a lot of time.
How many books are there?
5.
Okay.
And they're massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently they're pretty much going a book a season. So I think and they're already on season 4, and so they basically have caught up with the books. So I think what they're going to start doing next season maybe is they're going to do like 4 and 5 are going to be book 4. They're not going to try and fit everything into one season. They're going to
draw it out.
They're going to have to. I mean, because
it's got to go about 8 seasons.
George R. Martin hasn't. He's not. Book 5 isn't the last one. He's still writing on. He's created this whole world that he's just going to keep going.
So basically, they got to stall so he can write more.
Yeah,
That's great,
we're talking about like the guy has like a great plan. He's, see, I fixed the fan.
You did.
Yeah, he's got he's literally writing through like generations of people. You know what I mean? Like all these characters, if he keeps going, like they're all gonna be dead, and then the next generation is gonna be like taking over. Like.
And one of the coolest things I saw was he actually does chart the people. He like charts where these people come from.
Yeah.
All the way down to like the peasants. Like
Mm-hmm.
he knows where his. Like all the Tywin Lannisters, all of them, they all have their own people. It's like so cool that he actually takes that kind of detail, that time in his books.
Yeah, I went last time I was in Seattle. The EMP there at the Space Needle, the Experience Music Project. They always have like different exhibits going on, and one of the things they were doing this time was they had a fantasy, horror, and a sci-fi exhibit. We went to it, and the fantasy one they had. I mean, obviously because. They had like your Lord of the Rings, your C.S. Lewis stuff, and all those things. But there's obviously Game of Thrones stuff there. Like walking into the lobby to get tickets, there was the Iron Throne sitting like in the
so
lobby.
badass.
I got my picture. I got my picture taken on it, which is
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
had to. My caption on Instagram was "Winter is coming," obviously, and
It
so,
still hasn't.
Yeah, it hasn't. It got hotter.
Yeah. The heat wave
Since then,
came.
it sure has.
It was a particularly long summer. But they had like some interviews. They had like some video interviews with people. Like they were talking about different things, and like the one about Game of Thrones, George R. R. Martin was talking about how when he had the initial idea and started writing, the more he started writing, the more he realized that he wanted and needed to really develop this world, because in order for him to write these things, like he had to like do like all these like backstories and everything on all these characters. And he said once he started doing that, the map of Westeros just started growing, and he started developing the different cities. And
It's
all
so
that
cool
stuff.
because you're seeing the blueprint for how he did.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like stuff like that. I get super nerdy with stuff like that because I'm like that means he cared. Like he did.
Yeah.
Detail. He's not just trying to sell a book. He's not just
you
saying,
have to.
well, no, because there's some people out there, they get paid by these companies and they just put out shit books.
Totally, and I guess as an artist, that he has to, because he realizes that is this world. I guess I take from it like how the video games with Skyrim and them were. They're so very well detailed, all down.
They're
to those
as
little
good as
tiny
a book,
books
yeah.
that you read. So the well done ones have to be done like that.
Yeah, Skyrim took 3 years to make.
Jeez.
It's a beautiful game too. Again, yeah, you're right. It's just like a book. It's like you're reading a book, except you're playing it.
Yep.
And it's not as intelligent. And you could probably smoke a lot more weed playing Skyrim than you could reading a book.
You almost think that's how it's intended to be.
It's like weed. If video games were like a national sport or whatever, weed would be the steroid. Like you'd have
a banned substance.
You ban the performance enhancing drug weed in the world of competitive gaming, and nobody can play well anymore.
Right. It's like
the 9-year-olds just take it.
I have an asterisk by my name.
Dude, there's gonna have to be at some point like competitive video gaming.
Well,
This entire
is.
generation,
It's
Yeah.
huge, but it's getting to be bigger in the United States now.
Yeah.
I have a friend who actually
Is Dota? Does that ring a bell? Is that Dota? What's that stand for? It's one of.
I know MLA, Major League Gaming, or MLG. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I was gonna say Major League Gaming is the one I know of.
All
Yeah.
right.
I've met some professional dudes before. Like, I mean, yeah, obviously since we played Halo and on tour, like we had a friend. We were touring with this one band who one of the dudes was like, I mean, crazy. I hate it. If he was like in on one of the teams or like just on, if we were doing it 4-on-4 and he was playing, I would just sit out.
You're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's not even fun anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, we're above my skill level here. But
we go back to playing Mario Kart. See you guys.
Yeah. But he brought a couple of guys on the bus one time that they were
all
like the
MLG,
top Halo
yeah.
players in the world.
Ooh,
They were two brothers.
The Mountain Dew guys, right? They're the guys who did the sponsoring for Mountain Dew for the Halo 3 and 4.
I can't remember the names of the brothers.
Yeah,
now.
they were with ML. I'm thinking. I know.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about. They were. With
But I
MLG,
mean, they were the crazy
Yeah, they're
players,
sick
crazy
with
good.
controllers.
Yeah, and then they play it so much that they have like a pile of controllers. It's like, oh, this one doesn't feel well. This one, they're like,
Yeah.
I would never notice the difference between controllers, but they're like, oh, the sticks on this one are a little stiff. Or
As
this
nerdy
one-
as I am, I do actually.
Yeah.
It's like baseball, and pitchers, if they get a bad ball out there, they throw it aside. It
Well,
doesn't
the
feel
thing-
right. It wasn't scuffed up good before the game. Whatever.
Well, the thing about a controller, this is what's weird. The way you play a video game, Xbox actually designed the controllers now. They actually form to your play.
No way.
So, like, when I'm playing I always go on Call of Duty, I'm always pushing to the left because I'm constantly running I constantly run to the left. I don't know why, just I do. So my controller is to the left now. Like, if I leave my controller sitting there, the character will walk to the left.
Huh.
Because the controller just got so worn to that side. And Xbox makes it so sensitive that it actually ends up breaking the controller because that's why mine's broken now because that's so sensitive.
Yeah.
Is that why you have all the broken controllers from the bus too?
Yeah, there you go too. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are from not throwing them at windows.
That was from the controllers going to the left,
Yeah.
not the characters.
Yeah, that's great. We got right back on the video. Segway Jake.
Yeah, there we go.
Fucking working things out today.
All on it.
And look at this. Good timing on everything. We're gonna go right into this. Next thing, Deon sent me something. I want to talk about it. You said you were nerdy about IKEA.
Yeah, I am.
I want to know a little bit about this before we go into our Netflix conversation.
It sounds weird. One of the reasons I'm nerdy about IKEA is because everything's just like square and fits nicely and everything, and it's like I look in there and go, this makes sense to me, and just the storage and everything, and I don't know.
That's really
It's not like I can make this sound cool. Or
No,
anything.
it's not meant to sound cool. This is the reason for the podcast and actually you bring up like a good point for anybody out there listening. You're a nerd about whatever you're a nerd about.
Yeah.
And that you can be a nerd about working out. You can be a nerd about anything. That's really weird that you say that. And I'm sure I have nerdy things that I do like that. Like whatever IKEA. I like, I can't even. I'm nerdy for investigation discovery. That might make me look like a serial killer. You know what I mean? So each person's nerdy for their own thing. I like that you say that, and it's for the squares. It's for the actual going in there and knowing that everything is so well put in place.
Yeah,
It's not
there's a
for
lot
the
of thought
Swedish
behind it.
meatballs. It's not for
Yeah.
the. It's not for the juices.
Although the meatballs are delicious.
They
I
are.
do really like them.
And we've talked about how they might be
And they're like,
horse meat.
and they're like 75-cent hot dogs, whatever,
Yeah. That's all right. I mean, Taco Bell I think has they have mealworms in their meat.
Oh gee.
It's still delicious
Is that
when you're
real?
drunk.
No, that's not real.
I don't know. even if it isn't, it's still delicious. Who cares? I'll take a burrito from there anytime. So let's now we got to the fact that you're just nerdy for IKEA because of the shapes, and now we're gonna go into.
Well, I'm kind of OCD, so I mean things that fit well together or square and nice.
No, I mean
and,
I see what you're saying. It's like when you're cleaning. I think it's kind of like this. I look at it like this. When you're pressure washing something and it's dirty, you clean it. You get that feeling of it's like you took care of that area.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about, right? Like that cleanliness, that like.
Yeah, well, this organization is a big thing for me. Like I hate when I can't find a place for something when I'm trying to put stuff away, and I'm just have like stuff like piled on each other in the closet. You open the closet and everything just falls out.
So IKEA does that for you.
Yeah, they do. It's great, and it's very affordable.
So and we're gonna give Jake a little time here to talk about his photography. I want you to maybe tell these people. So maybe you have more time to play video games in Seattle. Maybe you can get these people giving you some jobs in photography and whatnot.
Hey man, the more I get, the better.
There you go. You can talk about some of your photography and stuff, some of the stuff you do in Seattle.
So I mentioned earlier, like I am a hairstylist and I own a salon, so my day job is that.
And what's the name of the salon?
Mars Hair.
Mars Hair.
Yeah, like the planet.
And is there a website for that?
Haironmars.com.
Haironmars.com.
Yeah.
Let's check that out.
I do a little play on words with that. So, so my photography kind of spawned out of two things, and it's both things that I love, but when I opened up the salon, I wanted to put out like the best possible quality product of like our finished work. And so I made a photo booth that's like got a constantly evolving background to it, all collage. And speaking of nerding out, I mean, I spent 2 days wheat pasting various different collage elements to the photo booth. So it's that I have
Very
that
intense.
in the salon to like document what we do. And then I've done hair for people over the years that many of whom have been in bands. And so a lot of times I'd come out, and Deon can attest to this, I'd go out to shows and I'd be cutting hair at the whole freaking show.
Yeah, you have a haircut waiting for you today.
I think back in March, I know I'm going to cut his hair later. Back in March, I think that happened, and you end up like hanging out with your friends, but a lot of times missing parts of the show, except for when your friend's band is playing and you can watch then. And so I had at one point, because I had invested in better camera equipment for the salon, I was like, I'm gonna bring the camera to the concert and actually take better pictures, because I used to do that back in the day, but never had a camera that was really good enough to do more stuff with it. And,
right.
So I started shooting shows and just kind of got by off of what I was doing, with those cameras. But you realize soon enough that like if you want to shoot certain things specifically, you need the right kind of gear for it. And you got to still have an eye for everything, which is the creative aspect of it. But the gear helps. So I'd upgrade, knowing that I really wanted to go somewhere with photography, but I didn't quite know how to approach it. And like I did with hair, I learned most of it by myself. And
you do mostly freelance work out there?
Yeah, although I've shot for Live Nation, I have just a freelance gig that gets me Live Nation jobs. But it's up in Seattle, so it's not like being down in LA.
Right,
if I were down here, there might be more stuff because it's where they're based at.
Yeah, TMZ would probably pimp you out all the time.
Well, I did just get off tour with Bieber, so
there you go.
But that I can't talk anything about. Jeez, man, TMZ would have to pay you some serious money.
I don't think there's many of my fans that want to nerd out on Bieber anyways.
Yeah, probably not anyway.
So we're talking about Bieber now? What's
Oh,
going on?
what happened?
No,
Bieber?
let's not segue into that.
I got
please.
3 million hits from Bieber.
Yeah, they just add that tag to the podcast.
Yeah. I just wanted to say his name just to get 2 hits from 17-year-old girls and wherever.
Yeah.
But so that's cool. So you do the lot. I like the freelance stuff is actually cool to me. Like I think you end up later on in life. I think you enjoy that more than any of it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's therapeutic for me. Like right now, because so much of what I do is like what absolutely I want to do. I make time after I'm off work to go and shoot for a little bit, whether it be sunsets or long exposure, nighttime type shots, or if I have a concert, then I'm gonna go and shoot. But I mean, I freaking love it. And I mentioned I have 2 kids, and those 2 are just adorable to me. So, I mean, Deon can attest as well. Most of my Instagram feed ends up being pictures of my kids and me, and like.
That's my favorite on Instagram is guys who put up pictures of their kids all day long. I'm like, yes, pedophile nation.
Oh man, that makes me sound terrible.
Well, I mean, if it's, I guess it's your kids, it's okay. If it's other people's kids, it gets a little weird. Or kids you don't even know.
My brother constantly puts up pictures of his daughter, and she's adorable. So I mean, I understand it all, and like I think it's really
it's
cool.
just it's modern day, I mean, Instagram. It's modern
no, I'm
day
just messing with you.
pictures that you used to send in the mail, So.
Yeah, or like you pull out your wallet and like, here's my daughter.
Well, I actually really like the fact that parents do that and they put them up there because like when we were kids, we didn't have that many photographs of ourselves.
I think of that so much in relation to why I take so many photos of the kids, because we can nowadays, and I mean, you lost them or they faded. I mean, I love that look, absolutely, and which is why I'll edit photos with that kind of a look, because on the computer, the quality of that image is never going to change, right? You don't get that wear that you used to get on old photographs. But
it's also cool to see who's a good parent, because like if you're taking pictures of your kids, they're smiling.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you don't have that many pictures of your kids, it's probably because they're unhappy.
Well, let's hope that's not true. My kiddos like to smile.
You just said your kid owns your Instagram. I mean, you might as well just...
They're always smiling, that's for sure. Love those kiddos.
That's great. All right, well, that's gonna do it for the most of our segments. We're gonna end it off here with our Netflix segment. We always do the Netflix. Jake, I don't know if you've listened to the podcast before, but we go in and we talk about Netflix. There's instant queue. People get angry at having to sit there and look through the instant queue, finding some shit movie that they don't want to watch.
Yeah.
So we kind of give them a hint on something that they might want to watch. So I'm going to give you a couple movies, and then I'll let you guys shoot at it if you want. Do you watch at Netflix at all, Jake?
I did.
So you can give us something from from Beck.
Yeah.
There you go. Recently, I was at my house and I saw that my neighbor was on a movie. Meant to Be is on Instant Queue right now. It's the weirdest movie. It's one of those movies. If you agree in their opinion in the movie, you're gonna like it. If you don't, you're gonna think it's a comedy. And the thing is, her name's Colleen Foy. That's COLLEENFOY. You should check her out. She's a really good actress. She was really good in this movie, but I thought the movie was one of those movies that you can't miss with watching it, because even if you don't agree with their opinion, you're gonna laugh.
Yeah.
So I'll go with that one, and then another one I saw. Oh man, I can't even remember the name of it now. It blanked me right away. Sarah Silverman's new movie on there. Oh well, we're gonna go into you, Deon, and I'll think of it while you give us a name of a movie, or did I catch you off guard on that one?
Actually, mine's not a movie. It's a
documentary, TV show.
I mean, well, obviously, there's the fourth season of Arrested Development just got added to Netflix.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I mean that's one right off the bat.
Let's just pause right there. We're going to talk about Arrested Development.
All right.
All right. That's
I
cool.
like that.
If we have to cut out another segment to make this go on for a while, we can do that.
Yeah, it's Arrested Development, the greatest show ever.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, I will say, I mean, as much as I would have watched all of the new season, I don't think they did it. They didn't come back in perfect form.
Right.
But I mean, near perfect.
Right.
You
And
know?
it's hard to come back when all the characters are so much older.
Yeah, it is
Right.
a lot of information.
Michael Cera's character is so much harder to pull off now because he doesn't have that same innocent George Michael.
Yeah.
Well, and if you've
Well, I
seen
think
This Is
maybe
the End, he
maybe
sure doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the best parts about This Is the End is Michael Cera.
need
I
to
think
see that
maybe like her character was, I think, the hardest one because she's the one that's kind of like physically changed the most between at the end of season 3 and then all these years later season 4. And
Maybe you mean?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the maybe character, like her, like, because I mean, the age she was, obviously she's now, a woman, and kind of,
And I like the way they played on that though. They kind of
Yeah.
like made her still in high school, and that was really funny because she was always the fuck off like that.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
and Portia de Rossi looks kind of weird in the new season.
Yeah.
I think what's her name? The Maria Tamborg or whatever.
The mom.
Mom on there.
No. The lady who played Tobias's girlfriend, who was a methadone addict.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember her
Target
name.
lady.
Yeah, she is killer in that.
Yeah.
Killer in the Method 1 clinic or the Method 1
The
acting clinic.
The Tobias stuff was definitely right on cue with like the mispronouncing words.
Oh,
like
it's so great.
a new start, anus start.
That the whole show is just brilliant. And like I agree with you. They didn't it wasn't perfect, but I think it's also the time lapse, and it's also it'll always be that show because it has so many inside jokes, so many inside. Some of the jokes are just for them. They're just made for Hollywood. Like you're talking about
the show stealer screener, the show stealer thing watermark on all the old episodes that they did was pretty awesome.
They're all brilliant. I mean, in Ron Howard.
Yeah.
And the lunar shuttle giving out. Giving out the fact that we never landed on the moon.
Yeah, we did. We went the following year, but the original was filmed.
I like how he makes himself look like a kind of an asshole. And and the half elevator and all that stuff. Just great. Like the way they pen themselves in that. It's just so classic. So. And did you watch this season over and over again, or did you just watch it once?
I'm going through like the second time right now.
It's great to watch it the second and third time because you see things you're like, wow, how did I miss that the first time?
Yeah, they definitely did really well with the little like allusions here and there to stuff that was going to happen later on in the series. That's for sure.
Do you feel they're going to come out with a movie or another season? I think they're going to come out with 2 more seasons and then call it.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish that they just made this 4th season longer instead of just 15 episodes. I wish they would have gone like with a little bit more because I mean they had so much information. Like at the beginning you kind of have to get over the first 3 episodes to really get into a rhythm with the show because they just jam so much information at you right off the bat.
Yeah, and it's going one character by character too, so it's a little different, different take on the show. Yeah,
so I wish they had been like maybe just like 8 more episodes, so like just round it out to like 23, 24 episodes, and really just kind of like space out that give the show a little room to breathe because seasons 1 and 2 hands down you can't really argue with anybody if they say that they were the best. They were just flawless.
Oh yeah.
and they were 24 episodes apiece. And I think that like gives that space a little bit for this funny moments to just really like kick in.
It's like Larry David's theory is you can build up for, you can waste 2 shows to build up for 1 show.
Yeah.
Like basically you cannot have a joke for 2 shows, but that one money joke is waiting for that 3rd show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like Lost, you can waste a whole season for a season finale, season 3.
Best part about Lost, you'd go through the whole show and then they'd give you a recap for a whole episode.
Yeah.
Like I don't need this. I just watched all of this. Fuck. What other Netflix shows do you want to recommend? You have any documentaries?
I'm going to throw out a recommendation that has been recommended to me that I haven't got to yet. But I've had so many people tell me I need to see it that I want to watch it. It's House of Cards.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. I love Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, so many people have told me that you got to watch House of Cards. It's incredible.
That's like the West Wing type stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's Netflix. It's a Netflix series as well. So, yeah, I think that's
great.
About
House
the
of Cards,
top of my recommendations.
House of Cards and Arrested Development. That'll keep you busy for a long time.
Yeah.
And
if you haven't seen Arrested Development, all 4 seasons are on Netflix. It's not just the new one.
Yeah, and you should definitely watch all 4 seasons. And when you get to the 3rd season, you can feel what we felt in 2006, was it?
2006. And my only complaint about the Netflix seasons, or the seasons that are on Netflix, is they don't have the original pilot episode of episode 1, season 1.
Yeah.
And which is like a little bit longer, but one of the jokes in it that changed from when they went to air date, or from the pilot to air date, was like Job's line, like, a trick is something a whore does for money. And then there's like the kids sitting around and he realizes, he goes, or cocaine. Like, I guess that makes it better,
That's so his character, though.
Yeah. Great.
Did you notice in that too, that how many Martas there were?
Yeah.
Did you ever? There's 3 Martas in the whole Arrested Development. They did that on purpose. They never wanted to they want to keep people guessing.
And the one that was the best Marta, one of the ones.
The Ward Show.
Well, no, there was a flash. They were going through Michael's romances.
Yeah.
And the one where like he's talking to Marta and like Buster's got his shirt stuffed with the balls.
Oh,
and he's like doing the dancing,
yeah.
like he's.
God, man. And
he's like, and just in the background, like doing all this dancing with like these huge balloons in his shirt because she had big breasts. I was like, oh my gosh.
Buster has to be one of the best characters in TV history.
Yeah.
And that guy, he plays the perfect character.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know him from anything else, and I don't quite honestly think I want to know him as anything else because he's so
I've seen
great.
him. He was in Stranger Than Fiction, actually. And,
he played the guy in the wheelchair in one of these movies. In one movie that I remember. God, what was that? Was it Anchorman? No, it wasn't Anchorman. It was some movie with Will Ferrell, I believe, that he was in.
Huh.
Yeah, he played. I can't remember. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, he's actually a really good actor. He's just that character, Buster. It's
flawless.
Yeah, you
so
can't
good.
beat it. So, Jake, what about you? Any Netflix you've been nerding out to or whatever?
I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan. And,
me too. Me too. Go Rays.
I
know you're a
D's over
Phillies
here
fan.
Smiling. Oh, me?
Phillies and Pirates.
See, now you see all of my baseball tattoos.
Yeah.
But they're because I'm such a huge fan. Like I've gone to 24 out of the 30 stadiums, and a lot of times
sweet.
I'll get tattooed in the city that I'm in of the baseball team. So that being said, I'm actually a Mariners fan because I live up there and I love the Mariners the most.
Okay.
But I was gonna say one of my recommendations would be there was a PBS documentary that's been kind of an ongoing documentary for almost probably 15 years. It was all done like at once, and then they added more to it at the end. But it's the baseball documentary, and I was actually motioning to Deon a moment ago. Like I don't have service on my phone, and I was trying to
Ken
look up.
Burns. It's the Ken Burns Major League Baseball.
Yes. Okay.
The 100 Years of Major League Baseball.
Yes. So
it's such a good documentary.
Oh gosh, they're
so cool
well
to like look back and see how little and how much baseball has changed. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still the same sport.
Almost
really
to a
is.
fault in certain things. There's some purist things that people, absolutely are opposed to changing about it. But, baseball by and large is the same sport that it was back in the 1850s.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it's a really great sport. It's so this is a true story about baseball. A lot of people wouldn't know this in sports. Baseball has more action-packed excitement in one game than any other sport.
Huh, really?
Yeah, because of what happens is people are sitting there for that one time, that one hit. And when that hit explodes, that stadium just lights up.
Yep. Doesn't matter how bad the team is.
Sports Illustrated did an article on it. It was baseball and football were the two
Yeah, I mean football you can see.
And soccer was the lowest, which I was happy to see that.
Because I mean, a winning game is 1-0, which as a Mariners fan, I mean, that happens a lot to us too.
Yeah, that's a Mariners game.
But we have a huge soccer team up in Seattle, and I mean, they just put 60,000 people in a stadium to watch one of the U.S. Or one of the, I think, World Cup qualifying matches.
We got a lot of
freaking
Mexicans or
nuts
communists
up
in
there.
Seattle.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big game up there, but I go to those games and I'm sorry, I need something a little bit more. I know the soccer fans are gonna slay me for that.
And that's why you're a true baseball fan. You have to go. You suffered through Seattle.
Oh yeah, we suffer. They just named the most miserable baseball teams, and the Mariners are up there with the Chicago Cubs.
You should have won the World Series in '90.
95.
Was it 95?
He knows the exact year.
Yeah, with Jay Buhner and Ken Griffey and
Edgar and Randy and the beginnings of Alex Rodriguez.
Jesus.
It's a tough life being up there. You got gray skies and you got the Mariners. I mean, a lesser community would have collectively offed themselves.
You lost the Sonics. You got the Mariners.
Oh God, you just knife to the heart, man.
The Seahawks. At least the Seahawks are starting to do well.
Why don't you just bring up Sean Kemp now?
Oh man, Sean Kemp is a cool dude. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Cool dude to drink with? I don't.
Well, he owns a bar actually.
Yeah,
so
I would imagine.
I can say that I drank with Sean Kemp, and he's a cool dude.
Yeah, I'd bet he's pretty cool. I mean, he's lived a pretty cool life, but he did.
I met Dennis Rodman a week ago too, and boy, that guy.
Something special.
He puts Sean Kemp to shame.
Is he? Is now that's a good one. Dennis Rodman. He's a pretty crazy person to be around, right? Is he still like that? Is he still off the wall?
Like, there was some off the wall moments, but I mean, I only say that I met him at an airport.
Well, I mean, off the wall, is he still dressing like a woman?
No, which is funny because I got kicked off of a church trip back in high school for bringing the Dennis Rodman biography that had him dressed in drag.
How dare you, sir?
I know, how dare I?
How dare you bring literature?
Been a rebel since I
Good
was in my
literature.
teens.
There's worse things you could bring on a
absolutely.
trip, I think. Heroin being one.
Oh, geez. So now, I guess going back, man, I'm a king of losing track. So the Ken Burns documentaries, and honestly, you can't go wrong with
all the Ken Burns documentaries.
Jazz
are so
documentary
phenomenal.
is so awesome. Definitely worth checking out.
His Civil War documentary is.
Yeah. His Civil War, his World War II. They're all great. Yeah.
Ken Burns could do a documentary about Wednesday.
Just
and I would watch it. It
would be the most phenomenal.
Not in any specific Wednesday, just the day of the week, where it falls in the calendar, and it would probably be awesome. You can turn anything interesting.
I think so, yeah. And he also, this is his trick. He gets major celebrities to talk over the voiceovers of everybody.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there going, wow, Private something sounds like Tom Hanks.
I got Darth Vader on my baseball documentary. You can't go wrong.
That's great, man. There's a documentary you should check out since you love baseball so much. Knuckleball. It's on.
Oh yeah, didn't it just
Instant
come
Q,
out?
yeah.
The R.A. Dickey one.
R.A. Dickey, Tim Wakefield, and
yeah, I want to watch it.
I love the Knuckleball. Phil Niekro was one of my favorites. Being a Braves fan growing up, that was a legend right there. But Knuckleball is such a cool pitch, and this all it does is it tells the history of the Knuckleball, R.A. Dickey, and then
there you go. To some people right there, that is the documentary on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's
there we go.
You got a documentary on a Knuckleball, whereas we are like, oh, I get it.
Oh yeah, let's go. I'm watching this. And then everyone else is like, please do not have me at your house at that time.
For real.
And if you do, have a blunt and then a bong and a bowl set up all together so I can just...
And a lot of food.
You guys did a great job today. Ttk you very much for letting me have you on here.
It was fun.
Yeah, fun times.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad you could have me.
Glad you could have me. There you go. We want to get to people to know where they can find you. I know, Deon, you are not a social networking guy at all.
I'm not. I do post on our Anberlin Instagram, which is just at Anberlin. So I mean, we've got all the usual stuff. Got Facebook.
I'm gonna say this right now because I actually had a friend the other day who wanted to listen to you guys and didn't. I told him who you were and he didn't know anything about y'all, so I said go look him up. He said I can't find them. I keep finding ANBBE, and I was like, okay, well you got to spell it right to find them. I was like, so guys out there, it's ANBERLIN, so you'll know. There you go.
There you go.
And so where they can find you on your tour dates maybe.
Yeah, Anberlin.com.
They've even got an app for the iPhone. I use that to check tour
we've got
dates.
an app now for iPhones and Androids. It's just go in the store and type in Anberlin, free app. That's got. I mean, you can keep up with news, Twitter, Instagram. We have our merch store on there. You can listen and buy albums on there. It's It's pretty thorough.
Definitely show these guys your love. I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't listened to their albums, one of the
So
best bands
good.
in America, in the world.
Yeah.
I'll say this, since a lot of people from Tampa probably listen to this, you guys can see them at the State Theater in St. Pete. When was that? July 12th?
July
I believe?
13th.
July 13th, okay. July 13th at the State Theater in St. Pete. And they'll be in Atlanta a week before that, I believe, or a couple days before that. So, yeah, definitely look at those tour dates if you're in Atlanta or Tampa and get to those shows. Jake, you want to let them know where they can find you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to get a lot of pictures of my kiddos, so bear with me.
I don't know if I'd say that again. You don't want the wrong people following you.
True, I'm going to privatize it, and then you can prove to me that you're not a bot. So I'm on there. This is my name, and Facebook is probably the best place to find me because I post my actual full sets, and I do have a website, which I have had for 10 years. It's jakegravbrot.com.
Will you spell that for the people, please?
Yeah, I hope you can spell Jake. And if you can't, it's Jake, and then Grav as in Victor, B as in boy, ROT as in Thomas.com. And also on Facebook, it's just Jake Gravbrot Photography. So
there you go, guys. Thank you very much for being here today. It was great having you on the show. You can find me as always, and thanks for Stand Up Talk Studios for Ari Manis for not being here today, and Stand Up Talk Studios for letting us hang out here and do this podcast. I'm Eric Oligny, and as always, Nerd Rage.
all right.